The rain fell in slow sheets over Atlanta, blurring the reflection of the old Monroe house in puddles that lined the cracked sidewalk. Talia Monroe sat in her car across the street, gripping the steering wheel so tight her knuckles turned pale. They said she was overreacting, that Camille and Devin were just handling business, but the paper said otherwise. That house, her parents' legacy, the place where she learned to pray through storms, was under someone else's name. Her heart thumped in her chest as she stared through the misty windshield, the sold sign leaning crooked in the muddy front yard. She whispered under her breath, "They think I won't fight for it." Her voice cracked between fury and heartbreak. This wasn't about property. It was about betrayal. The kind that comes wearing family faces and false apologies. The next morning, sunlight struggled through gray clouds as Talia stood on the curb, staring at the old house. The rain had washed away the footprints, but not her resolve. Her phone buzzed. Camille again, leaving another message filled with calm condescension. "Talia, please don't make this harder than it needs to be." She deleted it without listening to the rest. The house looked different in daylight, less haunted, more human. She remembered her mother's laughter echoing through those walls, the Sunday dinners, the warmth that once lived there. But now it was quiet, sterilized by greed and paperwork. Talia straightened her shoulders. If Camille and Devin thought a deed could erase blood and memory, they were about to learn otherwise. Inside the house, dust and silence greeted her like uninvited company. Talia stepped over the threshold, her fingers brushing the banister she once slid down as a child. Everything smelled of new paint and betrayal. Boxes lined the hallway labeled Carter Realty, Property Transfer. She knelt beside one, tracing her mother's handwriting faintly visible on the wood beneath the new labels. Her throat tightened. The house hadn't forgotten her, even if her family had. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked. She froze. It was probably just settling wood, she told herself, but the air felt heavy, thick with unspoken truth. Later that evening, Talia's best friend called, asking if she was really staying there. "You serious? You moved in?" Talia laughed softly, a sound caught between defiance and disbelief. "If they took it from me on paper, I'll take it back in person." She walked through the living room, turning on lights one by one, reclaiming each corner as her own. The air felt lighter, though the shadows still lingered in doorways. Somewhere deep inside, she knew this was just the beginning. The calm before something darker. Night crept back with quiet persistence. Talia lay on a makeshift bed on the floor, listening to the hum of the house, the pipes, the faint wind through cracked windows. The ghost of family dinners passed. She closed her eyes, her mother's voice echoing, "Don't ever let them tell you you're too much, baby." A faint creak sounded in the hallway, slow and deliberate. Her heart quickened. She sat up, eyes open to the dark. Maybe the house wasn't empty. After all, the sound of keys turning in the front door jolted Talia awake. Her heart hammered as sunlight leaked through the blinds. She scrambled to her feet, every muscle tight. The door opened slowly, and Devin stepped in. Polished suit, same smirk that once made her believe in forever. "Talia? What the hell are you doing here?" His voice cracked the quiet like thunder. She folded her arms, chin raised. "I live here," she said flatly. Devin laughed under his breath, shaking his head. "You can't just—" "I can," she cut him off. "You sold my parents' house. I'm taking it back." His expression softened, guilt flickering behind the charm. "It wasn't my call." Camille said, "Don't," Talia warned, her voice cold as marble. "You already picked a side." The silence stretched, thick with memories and missed chances. Talia spent the afternoon cleaning the house as if reclaiming it through every movement. She scrubbed floors, opened windows, and let the air flow freely. Dust swirled like memories refusing to settle. In the kitchen, she found a stack of unopened letters addressed to her late mother, all postmarked after her death. She stared at the envelopes, fingers trembling. They were from the same law firm Camille worked for. Her stomach sank. Maybe this betrayal wasn't new. Maybe it was inherited. Later that day, Aunt Laverne stopped by, her perfume arriving before her words. "You done stirred a pot, baby girl," she said, easing herself onto the old couch. Talia poured tea, her hands steady but her eyes questioning. "I just want what's mine." Laverne sighed, looking around the room like the walls could hear her. "Ain't nothing clean in this family. Camille, she always had a way of making truth bend." Talia frowned. "You knew about the deal." Laverne hesitated, then nodded slowly. "I knew something was wrong, but you know how folks get when money's involved. They lose their spirit before their soul." The air between them thickened with unspoken truths. Devin came back that evening. No suit this time, just jeans, a sweatshirt, and eyes that couldn't meet hers. "Camille said I should talk to you," he murmured. "She doesn't want this to get messy." Talia laughed bitterly. "Messy? You already made it messy." Devin sighed, rubbing his temples. "Look, I didn't know how deep it went. She told me your parents changed the will." "They didn't," Talia cut in. "I checked." The silence lingered until he finally whispered, "I'm sorry." But it wasn't enough. She could see in his face. This wasn't about guilt. It was about fear. That night, thunder rumbled far off, like an echo of the storm she'd started. Talia sat on the front porch wrapped in a blanket, watching lightning flicker across the city skyline. The house behind her creaked softly, almost alive. She didn't know what came next, but she wasn't afraid anymore. Every betrayal, every lie, it had all led her here, to the truth. Somewhere behind her, a faint light flickered inside the hallway, even though she hadn't turned it on. She turned slowly, eyes narrowing. The house seemed to breathe with her, waiting for what came next. Days passed in silence, broken only by the creak of wood and the echo of old ghosts. Talia started hearing faint knocks at night, rhythmic, almost familiar. One evening, while searching through the attic for a breaker switch, she stumbled upon a dusty box marked "Im." Inside were her mother's journals, bound in cracked leather, pages yellowed with time. The handwriting was soft and slanted, the ink faded but fierce. She sat cross-legged on the attic floor, flashlight trembling in her hand as she read. The first entry stopped her heart, her mother writing about Camille's deal and keeping Talia safe from what's coming. The house groaned like it remembered. Talia whispered to the dark, "Mama, what did you know?" By morning, Talia couldn't shake the feeling that the house was trying to tell her something. She sat on the back steps, the journal open beside her, reading entry after entry about her mother's fears. Not of death, but of betrayal. Her mother wrote about secrets buried with the deed, how someone she trusted was working to take the house before she passed. Each sentence burned through Talia's chest. The handwriting grew frantic near the end, with one line underlined twice. "Don't let Camille sign anything." Talia looked up, the realization cutting like ice. Her mother had known. That afternoon, Devin showed up again, looking worse than before, unshaven, eyes red from sleeplessness. He didn't even knock. "You were right," he said, stepping inside, voice trembling. "Camille forged your mom's signature." Talia's chest tightened, every word confirming the ache she already felt. Devin handed her a folded sheet, a copy of the fraudulent transfer papers. "I found these in her office. She made me sign as witness." I didn't know what it meant until after. Talia stared at him, fury and pity warring behind her eyes. "And now you want forgiveness." He swallowed hard, eyes dropping to the floor. "No, I just want peace." That night, Talia couldn't sleep. The journal sat open beside her, pages fluttering from the ceiling fan's soft hum. She thought about her mother's voice, the warning she'd ignored for years, the favoritism she never wanted to believe. Then she saw it, the faintest flicker of movement in the hallway mirror, a reflection that didn't match her own. She froze. The lights dimmed slightly, as if the house itself was breathing. For a split second, she saw her mother's face behind her, sorrowful but strong. Talia blinked, and it was gone. Her breath caught, tears welling. The house wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was haunted by truth. The next morning, she drove to Camille's law office downtown, the journal and forged papers in her bag. As she stepped out of the car, the air felt heavy, like the moment before confession in church. Camille greeted her with that same perfect smile that had always masked cruelty. "Little sister," she said smoothly, "you look tired." Talia set the papers on the desk between them. "Eyes steady. You forged Mama's name." Camille's smile faltered. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut glass. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I do," Talia said, voice low, trembling but resolute. "And I'm done letting you lie." The confrontation replayed in Talia's mind all night. Camille's voice, cold and sharp, echoed through her thoughts like the ticking of a clock she couldn't silence. By morning, the first signs of retaliation began. A legal notice pinned to the porch door, stamped trespassing violation. She ripped it down, her hands shaking. They weren't just trying to take her house anymore. They were trying to erase her completely. Aunt Laverne called, her voice tight. "You poked the bear, baby. Camille ain't never gonna forgive you now." Talia stared out the window, the street strangely still. "I don't need her forgiveness," she whispered. "I need the truth." Later that day, Devin showed up again, this time frantic. "Camille's spiraling," he said. "She's threatening to ruin you legally." Talia's lips tightened. "Let her try." Devin rubbed his face, pacing the porch. "You don't get it, Talia. She has friends in that firm. Judges, realtors, people who owe her favors." Talia leaned against the railing, exhaustion heavy in her eyes. "She's been cashing in favors her whole life. I'm not scared of her anymore." The wind picked up, brushing her curls across her face. For the first time, Devin looked at her not with guilt, but awe. That night, someone slashed her car tires. The sound of rubber hissing woke her from sleep. She rushed outside barefoot, heart pounding. The street was empty. Only the wind and faint streetlight glow. Her chest heaved as she looked at the deflated tires, the note tucked under her windshield wiper. "You should stayed gone." Talia clutched it, anger washing over her like fire. Somewhere inside, fear flickered, but she buried it deep. The house stood behind her, lights flickering slightly, as if responding to her fury. "You picked the wrong one to scare," she muttered to the darkness. The next morning, Aunt Laverne appeared unannounced, her face carved with worry. "I told you, girl. Camille don't play fair." Talia poured her coffee in silence. "She's scared, Auntie. People will only fight this hard when they know they're wrong." Laverne took a long sip, eyes narrowing. "You think this is just about that house? That woman's been jealous of you since you took your first breath." The truth hit like a slow ache. "Mama saw it too," Talia said softly. "She warned me." Laverne nodded, her expression darkening. "Then you already know what's coming. When Camille loses control, she don't just fight, she destroys." That evening, Talia gathered every piece of evidence she had. The forged signature, the journal, the letters, and spread them across the dining table like a battlefield map. The house was silent except for the ticking clock. Her phone buzzed again, Camille's name on the screen. Talia hesitated and answered. "You're making a fool of yourself," Camille hissed. "Walk away before I ruin you." Talia's eyes burned as she whispered, "You already did." The line went dead. She sat back in the chair, the weight of the truth pressing down. But beneath it, Something steadier was growing. Strength. Resolve. The storm rolled in fast, dark clouds swallowing the sky as if echoing the fury rising inside Talia. She sat in the living room, surrounded by the evidence, waiting. Camille's car finally pulled up, headlights slicing through the rain. When the door burst open, Camille's voice cut through the thunder. "You had no right to come into my office." Talia stood slowly, her voice calm but cold. "It's not your office I came for, Camille. It's my mother's name." Camille's eyes narrowed, her tone dripping venom. "You always had to be the victim, didn't you?" Talia stepped closer, unflinching. "No, I just stopped letting you be the villain." The thunder cracked louder than both their voices. Camille paced the floor, voice trembling with both anger and guilt. "You think you're better than me because you stayed clean, stayed humble, stayed the favorite. You have no idea what it's like to be invisible in your own family." Talia stared at her, the truth in Camille's words cutting deeper than the lies ever did. "Mama loved us both," she whispered. "But you turned that love into resentment." Camille's voice cracked. "Because she gave you everything." The storm outside raged harder, the lights flickering. Talia took a step forward. "No, Camille. She gave us the same thing. You just couldn't see it, because you were too busy counting what you didn't have." Devin arrived just as Camille's voice rose into a scream. "You ruined everything?" she shouted. "No," Devin said from the doorway, his tone trembling but resolute. "You did." Both sisters turned. He stepped forward, raindrops still clinging to his jacket, a folder in hand. "I'm done covering for you, Camille." The notary confirmed it. "You forged the signature." Camille's face drained of color. "You're lying." Devin shook his head slowly, setting the folder on the table. "Not this time." Talia didn't speak. The sound of the rain against the windows filled the silence that followed. A silence that broke something inside all three of them. Camille's mask cracked. She sank onto the couch, her voice barely a whisper. "I just wanted to feel like I mattered." Talia's anger softened, but her resolve did not. "You always mattered," she said quietly. "You just couldn't see it because you were too busy proving it." Devin turned toward Talia. "You can take this to the board, to the courts. She'll lose everything." Talia shook her head slowly. "I don't want her destroyed. I just want peace." Camille looked up, tears streaking her mascara. "You're stronger than I thought," she whispered. Talia met her eyes, voice steady. "No, I just finally stopped pretending not to be." The storm outside began to ease, thunder fading into a soft drizzle. Camille gathered her purse and walked toward the door without another word. Devin stayed behind, watching Talia silently. "You couldn't have ruined her," he said. Talia looked out the window at the soft rain. "That's what she expected," she replied. "But I'm not like her." Devin nodded slowly, a flicker of admiration passing between them before he turned to leave. When the door closed, Talia exhaled, the weight of years lifting off her chest. She looked around the room, the house finally still. For the first time, it didn't feel haunted. It felt hers. The following week felt like a lifetime. The truth, once hidden behind whispers and forged signatures, was now unfolding in public view. The State Bar launched an investigation into Camille's firm, and Devin's statement sealed it. Talia didn't celebrate. She just watched the city move as if nothing had changed. Sitting on the courthouse steps after testifying, she felt both free and empty. Aunt Laverne joined her, handing her a paper cup of coffee. "You did right, baby," she said softly. "Right don't always feel good." Talia replied, eyes fixed on the gray sky. Laverne smiled sadly. "That's how you know it's real." The weight of justice didn't feel like victory. It felt like release. When news broke of Camille's suspension from the bar, it spread fast. the kind of scandal Atlanta whispered about over brunch. Talia didn't take joy in it, but she couldn't help feeling a strange peace. Devin stopped by later that evening, unsure whether he was welcome. "She'll hate me forever," he said. Talia shrugged. "That's her choice." He hesitated before adding, "You ever think we could start over?" Talia turned from the window, her tone steady. "I think we already did, just not the way you meant." Devin nodded, understanding her meaning. This wasn't about romance anymore. It was about rebirth. A week later, Aunt Laverne called Talia to her home. "There's something your mama left behind," she said. Inside a small cedar box was a bundle of letters, sealed, dated years ago. The top one read, "For my daughters, when the house finds peace." Talia's hands trembled as she opened it. Her mother's handwriting flowed steady and strong. "If you're reading this, the storm has passed. Don't fight for walls, fight for what they mean. This house ain't a prize, it's a promise." Tears blurred Talia's vision as she finished. Laverne placed a hand on her shoulder. "She knew you'd be the one to heal it." Later that night, Talia returned to the Monroe house alone. She walked through each room slowly. The creaking floors, the scent of pine and paint. Every memory felt clearer now, sharp. In the quiet, she spoke aloud, voice trembling. "Mama, I did it." I told the truth. The wind brushed through a cracked window, and for a fleeting moment, she swore she felt a warmth move past her, like a hand resting on her shoulder. The house no longer felt heavy. It felt alive, finally breathing with peace instead of pain. The next morning, sunlight filled the house like a blessing. Talia stood on the porch, coffee in hand, watching neighborhood kids walk to school. The world hadn't changed much, but she had. She wasn't fighting ghosts anymore. She was standing in her truth. Her phone buzzed, a message from Camille. "I'm sorry, maybe someday we can talk." Talia smiled softly, typing back only one word, "Someday." Then she looked at the house, her mother's house, her house, and whispered, "We're home." Months passed and the Monroe house transformed from a battlefield into a sanctuary. Talia worked day and night, repainting walls, fixing floors, and opening the doors to the community. What once held echoes of pain now hummed with children's laughter and the sound of hope. She turned the front parlor into a reading room, the dining area into a counseling space. It was no longer just a home. It was a rebirth. Aunt Laverne watched her from the porch one afternoon, pride shining in her eyes. "You gave this house back its soul," she said. Talia smiled softly, her hands covered in paint. Auntie, it gave me mine back." The opening day of the Monroe Family Youth Center drew the whole neighborhood. Children raced through the yard, parents smiled, and the old house vibrated with life again. Talia stood near the ribbon, hands trembling, heart full. Pastor Reggie said a short prayer, his voice steady and kind. "May this house be a home for healing, not just for one family, but for a generation." When Talia cut the ribbon, applause erupted. But beneath the noise, she felt something sacred. This was the closure her mother had prayed for. Later that evening, when the crowd had gone, Camille arrived quietly. She stood at the gate, hesitant, watching as Talia locked up. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Camille whispered, "It's beautiful." Talia turned, her face calm. "It's ours," she replied. Camille looked down, shame still clinging to her voice. "I'm trying to do better." Talia nodded, stepping closer. "Then start by coming inside." Camille hesitated, then followed her sister into the house, where light poured through the open door like forgiveness itself. Inside, the sisters sat at the same table where everything once fell apart. The papers were gone now, replaced by framed photos of their parents, a candle flickering between them. For the first time, Camille spoke without armor. "Mama would have been proud of you," she said quietly. Talia smiled faintly. "She'd be proud of us. if we keep learning to love better than we did yesterday. They sat in silence for a while, letting the peace settle. The house felt alive, no longer heavy with grief, but humming with legacy. Weeks later, as dusk settled over Atlanta, Talia stood on the porch watching the neighborhood kids leave the center. The sky glowed pink and orange, the air filled with laughter fading down the block. She closed her eyes, letting the evening breeze brush her skin. Her mother's voice whispered in her mind, "Don't ever let them tell you you're too much, baby." Talia smiled, her heart finally light. She turned, stepping back inside the house, not as a woman reclaiming the past, but as one embracing the future.